My name is Gareth Collier, and I'm the principal of Cardiff Sixth Form College. I'm really delighted to be able to speak to you today about our new venture, Cardiff Sixth Form College in Cambridge. This is a very exciting time for us. It's something which we've been looking forward to for some time. I've been planning for many years, or several years, but it's been interrupted a little bit by the global pandemic. But that interrupted a lot of things in our lives. I'm sure we can't make excuses like that anymore. So we're moving forward, and we're starting Cardiff Sixth Form College in Cambridge. I'm speaking with many of you here today because you are candidates who I believe have what it takes to succeed in this exciting new venture. What I'm going to do to start with, I'm just going to give you share my screen. I'm going to be able to take you through a short presentation about Cardiff Sixth Form College, Cambridge, and then entertain questions from you should you have some at the end. So just bear with me whilst I share my screen. I hope now that you can see my screen there and it's all clear and present for you. I wanted to start a little bit to remind us about Cardiff Sixth Form College itself. I've been the principal here since 2015, and our vision is to be the best academic school in the world. Now, visions are always meant to be a little bit out of reach. They're meant to be unattainable. And for us to actually define the word best, and in fact to be able to measure ourselves on the scale of the world is very ambitious. But visions should be ambitious, and we're pushing to be the best academic school in the world. And we make no excuses for our desire to be academically strong. This is supported by a whole series of missions. And these missions are critically important to everything that we do on a daily basis. So they're written on the screen here for you to be able to see, but our academic mission delivers teaching and learning which challenges, inspires, demands, and delivers excellence. I demand excellence of my teachers, I demand excellence of the students, and we deliver excellence in terms of curriculum so that students can have the highest possible outcomes at the end of their time with us. Our careers mission. I've never worked in a school where careers and higher education outcomes are more important than in Cardiff Sixth Form College. And there are over 10 staff who are actually engaged to be able to work towards delivering our careers mission with outstanding guidance tailored to the individual's needs and aspirations. And all of these then are underpinned by a pastoral mission to deliver safe, caring, compassionate understanding and developmental care. Young people in our care are growing up, they're becoming more independent, and they are moving towards adulthood. And for us to be able to allow them to grow in their understanding of each other, but also safely, is extremely important. In terms of administration, it is efficient, supportive, compliant systems which both complement and lead our provision. I'm not sure whether you can see the bottom one because my control bar might be in the way, but sustainability mission here is we are investing both for and in the future. So these missions are extremely important to us and something which guide our everyday work. And there's something which actually have led us to start Cardiff Sixth Form College in Cambridge, because it's entirely in sync with our desire to be the best academic school in the world. Cardiff Sixth Form College currently is located in the boutique capital city of Cardiff. It's the capital of Wales, and it's a fantastic place to be. And all of you have applied to come to Cardiff Sixth Form College, understanding that is the case. Our new college will be in Cambridge, a world-class academic centre, a place where people aspire to come to from all over the world for academic purposes. So entirely consistent with our vision of being the best academic school in the world, to locate ourselves in one of the best academic cities in the world. And Cambridge is absolutely that. We will be operating our college as one college, two campuses. So the difference between Cardiff and Cambridge is very slim. Obviously, there's a locational difference. But the same academic standards, the same vision, the same missions, the same goals are held in both centres. Our desire to be absolutely the best is clear and front and centre. So one college, two campuses. And by doing that, we can share best practice that we've developed in Cardiff over the 11 years that we have been at the top of the UK academic standards, and deliver that within Cambridge. We're not starting afresh. We're starting already from the top of the ladder by using exactly what we have in Cardiff to deliver excellence within Cambridge. The leadership team here in Cambridge, I will be leading the team myself as principal. As I say, I've been principal at Cardiff Sixth Form College since 2015. I'm delighted to say that we have a very experienced head who will be joining us this year, Dr. Julian Davis, who's currently the head of Abbey College, Cambridge, has worked there for 24 years and built Abbey into the school it is today. Again, a proud Welshman, and so the links with Wales and Cardiff Sixth Form College are very strong, and Dr. Davis is very excited about his role in leading and building up Cardiff Sixth Form College. He will be supported ably, obviously, by Mr. Arend. Mr. Arend is the head of Cardiff Sixth Form College in Cardiff, and they've been working together as a team to deliver a very similar product in both of the establishments, both of the campuses. And then the third member of our leadership team here, some of you will be familiar with him. This is Mr. Gareth Thomas. Gareth Thomas is currently the Deputy Head Pastoral at St Andrew's College in Cambridge. He was the founding head of boarding in Cardiff Sixth Form College itself and set up all of the pastoral systems that we have, which work so well in Cardiff to keep our children safe. So we have a very strong and experienced team with experience not only within the independent sector, but experience of Cardiff Sixth Form College. So we understand how to make it a very similar product. So why Cambridge? Well, as I mentioned already, it's one of the capitals of academic education within the United Kingdom. Obviously, Oxford and Cambridge universities are two of the top universities in the world, and these act as a great draw for people to come to the city. But not just the students. There are a lot of people here who come to Cambridge because it is a city which is developmental. It's right at the cutting edge of academic standards. And you can see in the slide there at the bottom left-hand side, I doubt many people will know what it is, but that actually is AstraZeneca House. So it is the building which has been used to develop the COVID vaccine by AstraZeneca. And the area just outside Cambridge is called the Silicon Fen. Silicon Fen, obviously a play on words here. Silicon Valley we're all familiar with in California. Silicon Glen we may be familiar with in Scotland. Well, this is the Silicon Fen, and a huge amount of investment in high-tech industries, in AI, in biotech and biomed in Cambridge itself, which means there's a high concentration of scientific input, there's a high concentration of finance, there's a lot of people at the cutting edge of development, and that's the sort of place that I think we should be. It's a place where we can feed off the excellence and the excitement within Cambridge and be able to add value to our students that are here within our inaugural year group for Cardiff Sixth Form College in Cambridge. But as well as that, you can see the wonderful King's College there, you can see the Bridge of Sighs, you can see punting on the Cam, the shopping in the city, Cambridge University Press. It's a wonderful academic, student-facing city and an excellent place to be. I'm sitting there right now, looking out the window on Regent Street. It's beautifully sunny and a fantastic place to be. So that's why Cambridge. So our site, this is our teaching site on Regent Street, right in the centre of town. And this will be our main teaching and administration site, currently being redecorated as I speak. They're all being quiet at the moment. Paintbrushes are down whilst I do the Zoom talk, but we are currently painting it and rebranding it to make it fresh and ready for us to start in September. So teaching and learning will take place on this site, but also on this site. This is our Glisson Road site, and this is a Duke's Science Centre. I'll come back in a moment to talk a little bit more about Duke's education, but this is going to be set up for us as a science centre. We do teaching and exhibitions in state-of-the-art laboratories. Academically, as I say, we'll be building on the expertise that we have within Cardiff Sixth Form College, Cardiff. Now, in Wales, A-levels are modular. That means at the end of your first year, you sit AS examinations, which are worth 40% of your actual A-level. If you get good grades at the end of your ASs, then you will be able to use those as external indicators of excellence to universities for in order to gain good offers at top universities on top courses. In England, it is not a modular system. In England, A-levels are linear. You do not have the option to do modular A-levels. So one of the great advantages of being in Wales is that you have the modular, which adds to your final A-level. However, in order for us to be able to take advantage of these external examinations, we will be sitting AS examinations at the end of our first year here, but they are decoupled ASs. They don't count towards the final A-level, but they are actually the learning that you will be doing for your four-year A-level anyway. So in terms of your learning and teaching, it is an excellent preparation and a way to demonstrate that you are in charge of your subject and you do understand what's happening. And of course, the grades that you get in your AS examinations will count as grades which universities can use to make good offers to you for top courses in the universities. These are obviously much stronger to have than teachers' predicted grades. The teachers' predicted grades is very subjective, whereas the actual definitive examination result that you get from your AS levels means that the universities can trust this grade. It is a good indication of what you are doing, how you're working, and how well you are likely to perform in the final A level. So WJEC is the board that we use in Wales. And we will be continuing to use a WJEC product within England. We're going to use EduCAS. EduCAS is the linear form of the WJEC built for use in England, with the exception of mathematics and further mathematics, where we'll be teaching the Pearson EdXL board, simply because EduCAS does not provide mathematics or further mathematics syllabus in England. You can see the subjects here are clearly STEM subjects: biology, chemistry, physics, computer science. We're unable to offer that in Cardiff. Delighted to be offering it here within Cambridge with the huge input that we've got here from AI and specialist IT and computer specialists within the city, and economics as our humanity. And as I say, mathematics and further mathematics. These will be supported by EAP, English for Academic Purposes, UAP, University Application Processes, by PSE, and our supercurricular and extracurricular program. So a very restricted range of subjects, specialist subjects aiming at STEM, looking at students who are moving forwards in careers which would be linked strongly to STEM: medicine, biomed, engineering, economics and finance. So all sorts of subjects which are very positive and things which we specialise in at Cardiff. This is an anecdote here. Dr. Hanbury, who is the physics teacher in Cardiff, he's already written the two new textbooks for EduCAS physics, which we are delivering both in Cardiff and in Cambridge. And so we are ahead of the game in terms of creating the collateral for teachers, for students to learn in physics. Our boarding will be at Tripos Court, a very similar standard of boarding to that which we have in Cardiff. All students will be in single ensuite rooms, and they are cluster accommodations, shared kitchens between 7 or 8 students. It's an excellent boarding house. And in the letter that I wrote to you, there is a link in there to which you can see a sample video of a 6-bed cluster at Tripos Court, so you can see the quality that is there. It is a very high standard. It's the same as it is in Cardiff, and we anticipate running exactly the same boarding systems and boarding principles and practice, all led by Gethin Thomas, the previous head of boarding at Cardiff. Cardiff Sixth Form College, Cambridge and Cardiff Sixth Form College, Cardiff are all a part of Duke's Education. Many of you will know this already. Duke's Education is the fastest growing academic school group within the United Kingdom. And it is an umbrella organisation, if you like, which allows us to operate very independently, but supports us with central services. And here within Cambridge, we are very lucky to have 2 other sister schools. We have St Andrew's College, which used to have the building which Cardiff Sixth Form College, Cambridge is operating in, and Sancton Wood School, both here within Cambridge, and we are collaborating very strongly with them for the provision of our supporting education. Sancton Wood School dining room is the dining room that we are using for our evening meals, all supported by Holroyd Howe, the same catering company that runs catering within Cardiff, with a very similar menu and set of meal times. And at St Andrew's College, their sports facilities are available for us to use in our super and extracurricular program. So an excellent collaboration here between Duke's Education schools and colleges within Cambridge. something which we are not lucky enough to have in Cardiff, unfortunately, as we're the only Duke school within Cardiff. So very happy to be supported by sister schools here in Cambridge. These are our locations. This is the whole of the Cambridge city centre, and you can see that we are located pretty much in the centre of the Cambridge city for everything. Right opposite the Cambridge University Botanic Gardens and opposite Downing College for our major academic sites. So nicely clustered there in the centre of the city, all within walking distance. I'm going to skip through some of these slides because these are pretty much, they are standard, but they are what we do in Cardiff as well as in Cambridge. So students will have access to EPQ, critical thinking, and all the other supportive academic courses that allow us to become independent learners. The effective communication, leadership, entrepreneurship, and living skills will all be delivered within the Cambridge curriculum, sometimes being delivered together with Cardiff students, sometimes be delivered separately as a bespoke offering for our Cambridge students themselves. Supercurricular will be similar. We have our ICE trips, hopefully taking place in June 2023 or June 2024. Work observation, career society, speaker sessions, competitions, enrichment trips. Again, some of them will be done in collaboration with students in Cardiff and teachers in Cardiff, and some will be done separately, operating especially here for Cambridge. There will be different offerings in some of these because obviously our location allows us a different type of approach. That, as I mentioned, the high-tech approach here in Cambridge is extremely beneficial for us, and we will be helping to build on that. University preparation will be supported by exactly the same team as we have in Cardiff. So Mr. Hayley Bendel and Dr. Laura Foster and Mr. Dale Sage will be working with us on our careers programme, UCAS process, and everything else that we have. In addition, we are supported by other Duke's education companies. We're supported by Oxford applications, by the Medic portal, the Lawyer portal, and A-List for American university applications, who again will provide the same service to us here in Cambridge as we do in Cardiff, and will actually be located in one of our buildings in the Glisson Road Science Centre. There will be a location for these companies to be able to deliver courses for our students. This is a little reminder to everybody that actually the top attributes that university admissions officers are looking for in students are ranked very highly here. And you can see the number one attribute that is valued by people is good written English, the ability to use English in a written format. Now, in order to be able to write properly, you need to be able to speak, listen, and read. And therefore, there will be a strong emphasis on EAP, making sure that we progress. Many of you here will have an IELTS level of 8 or more. Those of you with lower will be aspiration to get into that level. But whatever level we have, we can always improve. And being able to compete with native speakers for places in top universities is the goal that we have to have. And therefore, we'll be working hard to increase and improve that for absolutely everybody. Our teaching, expert staff, recruiting staff at the moment, some fantastic staff, and our Cardiff teachers are involved in the process in making sure that they are not only that they are the experts that we hire, but also they are in tune with the way that we do things in Cardiff to make sure that we have a curriculum, a delivery of the curriculum which is in line with what we do in Cardiff. And we have mentors within the Cardiff teaching team who are mentoring the staff here in Cambridge. Just a reminder to us all that we combine two education systems. We combine the work ethic of the Eastern education systems, and we combine the creativity and imagination of the Western education systems in order to be able to get the best of both worlds. So we have hardworking, motivated, dedicated, determined, and disciplined students, but who are also striving to do more, striving to push themselves out of their comfort zone and to be able to be better than they currently are. That's one of the reasons why I've selected you as students, or your children here, as the inaugural cohort within Cardiff Sixth Form College, Cambridge. To start a new school, I want excellent students. I want students here who really want to thrive, want to move forward and live excitingly in this vibrant city in this new school. And I think that looking at the selection process, we've looked at your entrance examinations, your IELTS scores, your CAT 4 GL score, but most importantly, we've looked at your passions. We've looked at your desire to be more than you are, your desire to move forward in a particular subject for a particular career and want to make the most of yourselves. And the sort of students I picked here in the first cohort are students that really do strike me as those that will add great value to themselves. Pastoral care will be very similar to that which it is in Cardiff, given that we only have an AS year to begin with. There are no IGCSEs or GCSEs taught here at the beginning, and obviously we don't have an A2 year because you haven't got there yet. And so prefects and buddies, etc., won't be present, but everything else is here to help you, to support you with pastoral care in exactly the same system. And we shall be using our award-winning pastoral management system, Create, to be able to add value to individual students and to give them structure in their independent learning and make sure that they don't miss out on anything that they need to make themselves the best possible students going forward in the future. Extracurricular will be the same, or very similar, music, sport, art, drama. We will combine with St Andrews and Sancton Wood students for some sporting and cultural activities, and we may even come down to Cardiff for some of these activities as well. And the Cardiff students may indeed come to us for some of the extracurricular activities within the house system. Houses will be the same. We'll be operating the 6 houses that we have in Cardiff, and students will be allocated to one of those. Obviously, with a relatively small number of students in our first year, then the competitions we will be combining houses. But in the second year, when we have 2-year groups, then we will have full house competitions going on here in Cambridge, but also contributing to the overall house competitions within Cardiff itself. We are one college with 2 campuses, so we will be working closely together in that area. And finally, Cambridge, an academic city. You can see he has a huge academic history within the university itself and many other schools here. You know, the #1 state sixth form in the UK is actually located in Cambridge as well, Hills Road Sixth Form College, and now the #1 sixth form college, independent school sixth form college, or in fact, not even independent but state as well, the #1 school, Cardiff Sixth Form College, Cambridge, is joining the city. Lots of traditional culture. Those of you that are culturally aware will recognise that picture there as one from the film Chariots of Fire, where they are racing around the inner court at King's College, and very famous prelude to the Olympic Games in Paris in 1908. World-class sport, obviously the Cambridge boat crew there, who will be rowing in the varsity rowing match. Our school in the middle, our new home to the top school in the United Kingdom, and Cambridge is a beautiful city full of parks and gardens, very similar to that which you find in Cardiff. I'm going to stop my presentation just there so that you can potentially ask me some questions in a moment. If you've got some questions you want to write, you don't want to speak, you can write them down into the chat box, and I'm very happy to answer those. And I'm delighted to be able to open the floor to you now. And if there's any questions you'd like to ask, please do write them in the text box, and I will answer them. I've already had some good questions here by Ethan Au. Ethan is one of our students here at Cardiff Sixth Form College, and his brother is one of those students that have an offered place in Cambridge. So I'm just going to start by looking at some of his questions, which he very sensibly asked. And one of the most important ones is that if a student doesn't want to come to Cambridge, but wants to turn down the offer to come to Cambridge, does that mean that they've lost their place in Cardiff Sixth Form College? Well, the answer is no. You have already been admitted and accepted a place in Cardiff Sixth Form College. This is the choice of going to the location of Cambridge or not. If you choose not to go to Cambridge, then you have your place in Cardiff. That is not a problem, that is not a difficulty. But if you are the sort of person who can take up this exciting challenge and want to be in one of the world's top academic cities, then this is the place for you. I've already talked about the academic standards and talked about doing EDUCAS as an examination board, which is the WGAC arm for linear A-levels within England. And I've talked about the difference with mathematics and further mathematics, where we'll be doing the Pearson EdXL board in there. No other questions coming in. Has nobody got anything to ask me? Can't believe it. What I would say is if you want to know any more information from this, you can actually contact Mrs. Melanie Simons is on here, our registrar in Cardiff, and Michelle Walker is here as well, who is our head of admissions. They're both here to assist you. And of course, you have our in-house sales staff here, Mr. Blignor, Tony Blignor, Jasmine Nye, Florence Chow. I see online. I see anybody else? And I can see, there we go. I can see Jack as well. Jack is our marketing officer, and Megan here as well from college. Small classes, excellent. Aidan, thank you for your question. When you mention small class in Cambridge, how is it compared to Cardiff campus? Well, our class sizes will ultimately be the same, Aidan, but obviously because we're only running one AS year group and we don't have the A2 year group, the size of the college will be half the size it is in the first year. So I'm anticipating class sizes no larger than those that we would get in Cardiff, but it will depend a little bit on pupils' subject choice. So for example, the majority of our students tend to do mathematics, and so I'm expecting class sizes of 12 to 16 in the mathematics classes, whereas I think in the more optional subjects such as computer science or economics, I'm expecting smaller numbers in those classes. But it comes down to subject choice. But again, a very a sensible question. You've got one of my pet hates here, Aidan. Actually, I'm delighted you've asked it, because lots of people seem to think that that actually class size is a major determining factor on student success. And I'm not going to say it isn't a factor, but it's not the major factor. It's actually the way that you select and admit students makes the biggest difference. If you have a set of students who are all of very similar ability, then the class can move at a similar pace. And therefore you can move things forward together. If you're working in mixed ability classes, then you have to have different lessons going on at the same time. You have to be stretching and extending some, whilst you have to be supporting others. And therefore the pace of the lesson is much slower. And in those classes, you need smaller classes. But in classes where the cohort is very similar, you can have larger numbers. And actually, the communication and the student interaction in larger classes is actually much more positive. So whilst small classes are beneficial for some subjects, for others, I think that they're not as big a factor as anything else. It's who is in the class is more important than size. Andre, why is computer science only taught in Cambridge? Very good question. I've been trying to recruit a world-class computer science teacher in Cardiff for 4 years. Haven't found one yet. Go back to my first academic mission. My academic mission says there that I will demand and deliver excellence. If I cannot deliver excellence, I won't deliver it. If I cannot find a fantastic computer science teacher in Cardiff, then I won't deliver computer science there. If one comes up, if I can find one, I'll deliver it. But if I can't, I won't. I have an excellent computer science teacher here in Cambridge, and therefore we're delivering it here. The exact address or location of the Cambridge campus. So as on my slide, you'll have seen we are located in the city centre. So where I'm sat now is at 89 Regent Street, opposite Downing College, in the centre of Cambridge. Our science centre is on Glisson Road, which is a 3-minute walk away from this building. And the Tripos boarding is next door to my own house, which is opposite the something called the Junction, next door to Abbey College, Cambridge, and to Hills Road Sixth Form College, about a 15-minute walk or a 5-minute cycle ride from the accommodation. Question here from Nathan. How does the new science-focused building work? We'll be swapping between buildings throughout the day. Where we spend the majority of classes? Give me a science-based subject. It depends, Nathan, on the timetable. I can't tell you exactly how many times you would move, but yes, you would move between buildings. As you do in Cardiff Sixth Form College, we move between floors, we move between classes there. I would hope to keep the travelling between buildings to a minimum, but yes, we will be travelling between the laboratories and the standard classrooms, which is fairly standard in any school. You move between buildings in any school, so yes. Yes, I've got one here on a private chat. There we go. Yes, so Sports facilities, we have an AstroTurf behind St Andrew's College, which we're using for our sports facilities. Directly behind the main academic building here, we have the large park called Parker's Piece, which is our outdoor green space, which we're going to be using for our students. And just beyond that, we have the Cambridge Sports and Leisure Centre with swimming pools and gyms and various other things on the other side of Parker's Piece. So we are very well located for sports activities, and there is a sporting programme and activity programme which will take place in the evenings. Aidan, good. So in the first year, I'm expecting 23 students total in our AS cohort, governed, excuse me, governed by the accommodation block and the size that we got there. In the second year, our intake will be 50 students, making a total of 73, and the third year, a further 50 students, making us a school of 100 in year 3 and 120 in year 4. So we are growing, but we're only going to produce one year group. Our first year group is our year group of scholars, our excellent students who are going to lead us forward, and a very exciting time for that small cohort of students. So the people I'm speaking to on here at the moment are those that have been offered in the first cohort. Yes, thank you for that question on the private chat. Yes, you've all been selected here using the criteria that I mentioned earlier. I looked at your entrance exams, your IELTS score, your Cat4 GL, your interview ratings, and most importantly, your passion. So you, as the 23 here, have been selected specifically as being able to take up this challenge. But of course, should you not wish to, then I will move into the second cohort and offer to other students that are in the waiting list at the moment. Catering. Yes, catering. So each of the each of the clusters have a kitchen for students who will be wanting to have independent catering. Breakfast will be served in the boarding house in Tripost Court. And the lunches, students, as we do in St Andrew's College here in Cambridge, because everything is so central, lunch students will be able to provide for themselves. There are a number of catering outlets here which they will be able to go and use. And then the evening meal will be in Sancton Wood School, in the dining hall and the kitchens there. Sancton Wood is a day school, and their students will be leaving at 3:30, 4 o'clock, and from 4 o'clock onwards we take over the Sancton Wood dining facilities on their main hall, where we can have our meetings and do our activities and have our catering. As I say, it's Holroyd Howe, the catering company that runs the catering within Cardiff, is the same company that will be running it in Cambridge. Very high standard, 5-star food rating, and an excellent chef. So very excited by that. Okay, I can't see any more questions coming in here at the moment, but if you do have any, please don't hesitate to contact Mel and Michelle and the team in the admissions department in Cardiff Sixth Form College, where they have answers for you. Just last one in here from Andre. Would there be any teachers from Cardiff moving to the Cambridge campus? Not in the first year, Andre, not in the first year, but certainly I have members of staff in Cardiff who are looking to make that move in year 2 or year 3 when the school is at its maximum size. But we do have staff, the teachers within Cardiff are actually supporting the teachers within Cambridge, and you will see some of those teachers in your lessons and helping you and teaching you, but probably remotely rather than coming here physically. What we do in Cambridge is exactly what we do in Cardiff. So in Christmas holidays we are closed, and the summer holidays we will have our August pre-sessional for those students that arrive in August, and the holidays are exactly the same. We don't have other holidays. We have enrichment weeks. We follow exactly the same program, the same timetable, the same days, the same assessments, the EPs, the examinations, the mocks. All of those are exactly the same and at exactly the same time. Yes, so students under the age of 16, excellent, good question. So we call those CSAs, compulsory school age children in the British system. If you're under 16, there are different rules for you in the United Kingdom if you're over 16. And so, yes, we have CSA students, and we have 4 members of staff living in the boarding house specifically to look after our students in the boarding, but also to look after our CSAs in particular, who have their own cluster. So yes, it's an excellent offering, a small offering. I would say that Mr. Gethin Thomas, who's the head of boarding, was the person who set up CSA boarding within Cardiff and actually led us through our inspection in Cardiff, which led us to be outstanding in terms of our boarding provision for CSA students. So yes, all students will be looked after very, very well within the boarding block. It's the same setup as in Cardiff. There will be a laundry there for students to do their own laundry, but there will be a service laundry by our staff as well for CSA students to be able to have their washing done. Obviously, their bedding and things are done by us anyway. Andre, I've answered that question. How many students in the Cambridge campus? In the first year, 23. In the second year, 73. In the third year, 100. In the fourth year, 120. So we're growing in size over that. And that's governed mainly by the availability of accommodation. I have to be able to lease accommodation blocks when they are available, and the leases that I have come on at that rate. And the size will increase along with the size of the accommodation. Okay, I am going to wrap that up, ladies and gentlemen. It's 10:10, and I'm so pleased that you've been here to listen to this. And I am going to finish with Tommy's last one in here. Would it be possible to switch camps at the end of the year? No, absolutely not. You cannot switch from Cambridge to Cardiff, and I'll tell you why. It's because the linear system in England does not lend itself to the modular system in Wales. You cannot switch from Cambridge to Cardiff. It is possible to switch from Cardiff to Cambridge and switch from a modular into a linear system. And we do have students who at the end of our first year, we have the same standards. If you need to reach AAB to continue into your second year A-levels, the same in Cambridge will be in Cardiff. You can switch from a modular to a linear system at the end of the first year. You cannot switch from the linear back into the modular. It doesn't work, unfortunately. And that's not a Cardiff thing. That's an England-Wales issue. So, right, I am stopping there. I apologize. You are busy people, have to move on, and I have another meeting which I need to go to. But do please write into the admissions@ccox.com. I'll just make sure that email is on the bottom of the letter should you have any more questions. I would be delighted to see you join. The deadline here is the 17th, so it's 2 days' time. If you wish to take up this offer, please do respond by then. If you don't, that's fine, but do respond and say so that we can release it to somebody else who is next in the waiting list. As I say, you are the chosen few to start this new venture, but if you don't wish to take up that challenge, then please do let the space go for the next person in the list to come forward. But I'm very excited by the possibility of everybody coming to Cambridge and having a very exciting start to their academic education here. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you all in Cambridge. Thank you for your time.